week, you may remember billionaire Warren Buffett says it is time to raise taxes on the wealthy like himself. It's not something many Republicans support, however. Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn is in Studio B with Alex to talk about how to cut down the U.S. budget deficit. Alex?
NBC, thank you very much. Congresswoman Blackburn says Washington does not have a revenue problem. It has a spending problem. Congresswoman Blackburn, always good to have you back on Live at 9. What do we mean by that for those who don't really see that picture or don't understand it?
Washington has revenue that is coming in, but where the problem is on the spending side of the ledger. And that is what needs to be addressed. And you know, Alex, we have heard from economists, from analysts, from ratings agencies that it is the out-of-control spending that needs to be brought under control. And it's basically going through right-sizing government. It's pretty much what many corporations and companies and small businesses and families have done over the past several years, is to kind of right-size.
Right. So what areas can actually be cut? Because we've also heard that it might actually include these days even defense spending, which kind of hits home for a lot of people, and they might be saying, wait a minute, do we really need to be doing this?
There are plenty of areas where there is waste, fraud, and abuse, and as the Budget Control Act put in place the corralling or the caps on spending, and we have the select committee that's going to focus on deficit reduction, we're saying, you know what, that's a step in the right direction. We have changed the culture of spending and conversation, so we're encouraging our constituents to give us their best ideas. They can go to our website, Facebook, Twitter, send those ideas in. We know that there's lots of waste out there. People see it every day, and we hear about it every day in programs that the federal government administers, in having duplicative programs, in having grant pools where maybe you have 40 different pools of grants for economic development. What we hear from our local officials is have one, have two, but not 40.
Right. Also want to ask you, Congresswoman, about something that's created a lot of buzz, some of the comments made by billionaire Warren Buffett. He's saying that individuals such as himself, the wealthy, should be taxed more. Tax me more, he says. Do you think that's the route to go? What do you think?
We've again heard from so many economists who have said this is not the time to raise taxes. And for individuals that want to pay more, they're welcome to pay more. When I was in the state Senate and led the fight against the state income tax, what we did was to put a box on my desk and say, if you want to pay more to the state of Tennessee, write the check out, bring it, here's a box. You can do so. Anyone can do that if they feel like they want to pay more. But what we are hearing for middle-income families, for wage earners, now is the wrong time to put an additional tax burden for small business owners, which the tax code considers them to be the rich.
So right now why is this not the right time to do it?
Well, look at what we have with unemployment numbers being above 9%, underemployment being at around 17%, with businesses telling us the cost of regulation, taxation, litigation is hampering their ability to create jobs and to grow jobs, and that's where you get it. The federal government doesn't create jobs, small businesses do.
But some people might say what Mr. Buffett is saying, though, is the right thing to do. It's the responsible thing to do. You don't agree with that?
I think that right now to raise taxes is the wrong step. Spending is the problem. Every year I go to Washington and I file 3 bills calling for across-the-board spending cuts. We've talked about them many times. They actually cut the baseline, not the increase, but the baseline. Every year we try to put the attention on that. We've spent years doing it. It is the spending that has to be addressed.
I have about 30 seconds left here. Can there be a real dialogue between Republicans and Democrats to really kind of reach a balance here? We saw, of course, the crisis involving the debt ceiling limit. What can be done right here to actually converse and talk and discuss this?
I think the American people are demanding that there be a dialogue about jobs, the economy, and the debt that is in this country. They want to see these problems addressed and resolved. Coming to the agreement on the Budget Control Act, where there were no tax increases, spending cuts, caps, and we're going to get a vote on that balanced budget amendment. Those are good first steps.
Okay. Congresswoman Marsha Blackburn, always good to have you back.
Good to be with you.
All right, thank you very much. Mary Beth, back to you now.